Hi, I'm Tam the TMBOTC channel, and I wanted to I actually wanted to do a couple of different videos, but I decided to do this one instead because I thought, hey, I have the power of the internet in front of me, and I can show you my examples now through that. So, yeah, instead of needing the freaking game itself. I have played Cyberpunk a couple times through, and I've definitely played Bethesda games through. So I got a bunch of tabs here with different examples of things. I also want to say in the forefront what the videos originally were. I was actually going to do a video on what uh, Mass Effect, three things Mass Effect does better than Baldur's Gate. Maybe I'll still do that, and then do a similar kind of style of like what Skyrim or Fallout 4 or something does better than Cyberpunk or one of those other games. I don't have Starfield up, but I can probably get Starfield stuff up. But I wanted to do this because I've been talking about this stuff for a long time. I wanted a better video to be able to show my examples. Then I thought of, hey, I can look up the examples for myself and show you myself, excuse me. As well as I'll just say a couple of things here. So Cyberpunk, I don't think Cyberpunk has, at least the main game doesn't really have random encounters, or of course it doesn't really have companions, even though it's not a game purposely meant for that. But in my personal opinion, I prefer companions. Um, There's technically more romanceable partners, and they're not locked behind like specifically one's a lesbian, one's gay, or whatever their preference is. Starfield does that too, though, but there are still a lot of companions, and whatever. It's hard to argue either side of the which characters are best because I do like Sarah Ryder and Andrea. She's pretty hot. And you got space cowboy Adam Jensen, basically. That's enough to just be like a winner. But I'm here to talk about designs mostly because I actually think that the game Cyberpunk, even with all the fixes, uh, and a lot of people like manly reviews and stuff have already gone into so many other details of the games within their plot problems and stuff of the villain being weak. I even think like they needed like guilds and stuff in the game because like those spider eye robot, those cyborg guys with the spider eyes or whatever, like they're barely in the freaking game at all. They just kind of vanish. I just realized two other tabs I can bring up. But here we have, I thought U2s would be my first example, weirdly enough. I was looking at U2s and I saw they only really had three of them. This guy's barely in the game. So he really just doesn't matter. Nor do I give a crap, and the villains aren't really done all that well in the game anyways. As Manly Reviews has pointed plenty out, they're just written sloppily, especially since some of the people working for the company that are supposed to be the main antagonists actually help you out. Uh, but I wanted to point out one of my biggest problems was the game is just feels very bland in its creativity. Like you look at these two characters turned into U2s, and I'll be showing the characters without being U2s, of course, too. But I saw these two alone, and they just look so generic. Tank tops, jeans, boots. Oh, middle arm. That's original. Oh, an earpiece or a metal plate on her head. That's original. The same freaking swooped over on one side hair while the other side shaved. Yeah, the freaking female character on the box art was made to look like that, but with red hair. Sunglasses and Keanu Reeves. Basically, this is just freaking, oh, and sometimes tattoos. Basically, this is just Winter Soldier mixed with frickin' the main character, Far Cry Blood Dragon, except blander. Like, come on. And I'm about to get into more about the clothing and options in that game, minusing the DLC. Shouldn't need the DLC to freaking fix things. Ironically, the DLC is similar to a DLC in Far Cry 3. But yeah, the freaking creativity is so bland here, and it feels very lifeless. Now look at these characters. I know they're based on animes, but look, if you made these characters live action, they are so much more colorful. They're doing more with the cybernetics and stuff, and they're just more creative in their style. The style's better. I would have much preferred a JRPG in this style of Cyberpunk. Hell, hire the people who did the character designs for this freaking series for Cyberpunk, because whoever designed the characters in Cyberpunk freaking suck. They're so boring in the actual game. These characters are actually good in their designs. They're colorful. They got unique looking designs. I've never really seen anything like them. Well, maybe this haircut I've seen and such, but still, the hair, actual colors and stuff, and them actually having more going on in the cyborg department. Also, the other problem is just the freaking fact that the best they could do, other than like, of course, mantis blades, but you have to have those actually come out to be seen and used as a weapon. They're not always on the person. The best they could do for the cybernetic stuff when you're customizing your character is just metal lining and such, or maybe a part of you is made of metal. Can't you be a little bit more creative in the cyberpunk department than that when you're making your game? I feel like the freaking tabletop would be so disgraced by you. This is the game people put up next to freaking like Baldur's Gate. The only thing Baldur's Gate borrowed from that game was the freaking genital thing. That's it. It's just so creatively bankrupt in its design. The characters are just so boring looking. And now we come to the characters themselves. So I have some of the companions. We're probably going to get more into the freaking. Actually, maybe I should start from over here first. So first off, when I was looking through here, you got the characters, the companions. Once again, just the same boring like gear. Just freaking tank. This is cyberpunk. Cyberpunk. What is with the modern clothing and stuff? Or just everybody having that same glowing collar outfit or the swooped over on one side hair. Like, come on, cyberpunk. Or shaved head like that. God, I see so many people with that. You just don't try hard enough. Yeah, that's definitely a different tank top, isn't it? Now that person has a little bit more going on. I wish these pictures, sadly, this is Microsoft Bing, but I'm pretty sure you can tell from here these are just freaking boring designs. I think I'm about to, like, look at that. This is what they do to try and make like something cool to your cyber. Can you try more than this? Even glowing eyes isn't enough. What happened to the spider guy guys? The frack? You just didn't try with these. Even that looks like clothing I'd see somebody wearing today. Why are things so modern looking? He's freaking modern looking. Oh, the most you give him is freaking metal arm. It's not like I've freaking seen that before. God, that's so freaking boring. Like even this stuff isn't really adding enough, and they're both wearing the same freaking jacket. Come on. I know that's supposed to be the main character, but seriously? Even in your advertisements, characters were wearing the similar looking clothing. How did people get hyped for this? I think this guy might be going a little bit further. Actually, there's one of the spider eye guys. Yeah, these two guys are probably going the furthest with their designs, but this guy, both these guys are barely in the freaking game. So what does it freaking matter? Barely in the freaking game. And then people are creating more interesting looking cyberpunk stuff, which I'm probably going to run into more as I go through here. That's mostly in like art styles and stuff. I think it's actually here. That looks like a better Keanu Reeves. Eh, yeah, look at that frickin' that's a metal arm. Like it seems people you can tell it's art styles from other people too. It's not like in game. Maybe some of them are like concept art, but it mostly looks like people tried their own unique ideas and they come off as much cooler than the actual freaking game. Even trying to make other characters just look cooler than the game. Like that guy's tryharding, but in like a good way. That's creative right there. And people are actually trying things. Look at that frickin' device. Holy crap. Like, why did they not try hard enough with stuff? Once in a while, but uh, even when they do, it's frickin' barely in the goddamn game. Just use spectacle. Now we come here to the anime characters, and they're freaking very colorful. They're very vibrant. Just they stand out in so many different ways. Let me get back to generic town. Jackie's the like one character like I was actually thought I was gonna like, and then they like kill him off too soon. She's generic looking. Just freaking so much better with the art style and such of the freaking the anime. They should have just hired the people that made the designs for the anime characters. And even though they're completely different styles, one's realistic and the other isn't, I can imagine if you made these realistic, though, they would still look better than this crap. And not just this, I'm talking like her as well as the one everybody frickin' falls in love with. Yeah, like, oh, actually, there's one right there. There's a realistic one. Yeah, that looks better, even though it does have the frickin' dumbass lining through them. That still looks better. That looks cyberpunk. Put them next to each other, bland and dark, colorful and bright, but in a good way. He stands out. I don't get how frickin' cyberpunk was trying to stand out. It's frickin' boring as hell. Oh, there's another one trying to do like a realistic version of the main character. I believe his name is David. I guess that name is kind of generic, honestly, but whatever. The frickin' character and storyline was more interesting. Um, I'll make an argument too, so we'll be talking, going more. By the way, oh yeah, had that page up. We'll have to. Yeah, here's what I wanted to use as example. You remember how they have in the advertisements the famous line, "Wake the frick up, samurai," and they got the fricking Samurai Cola crossover with Rockstar energy drinks. This in the main game for the longest time was the only samurai crap. This jacket, this helmet, and this mask. DLC shouldn't be holding up the your freaking game. You need the foundation to be held up by the actual thing that it was meant to be the foundation in the first place. The DLC is just the pillars or whatever, some sort of support. This is still supposed to be the rest of it. And the only differences you did in the clothings were color variants. Like, seriously? Even Darth Vader's laughing at this. Freaking Fortnite has better freaking. Hold on. Fortnite. Yeah, look at this. Where are the head pieces and stuff? Where is all this stuff? but make it cyberpunk looking. A matter of fact, when I looked up freaking cyberpunk samurai, let me see if I, excuse me, get this. The game is just lacking in its creativity. I don't get how people love that game. I know gameplay is the thing, but still. Whoops. Forgot to get rid of skin. Alright. That's not in the game. I don't know what actually is in thanks to the DLC, but there's just so much cooler like stuff people did here, cyberpunk wise. Like a jacket. Matter of fact, if there is anything else samurai, it would just be a t-shirt with that logo. For a game that's advertising the word samurai and has a bunch of like Japanese characters and all that, you don't stand by crap with the samurai stuff. And you can only get mods on PC, so you're crap out of luck there if you don't have other ways of getting samurai gear like DLC. It's freaking boring when freaking Fortnite does it better. When even Fallout 3, and that's from a DLC, does it better. I used Fallout 3 of all things. When Neo 1 and 2 Wukong Fallen Dynasty or whatever the frick that game is called, and frickin' Ghost of Tsushima all have fricking better samurai gear. What the frick is your excuse, Cyberpunk? Why the frick do you have phallic helmet? I think I have a page already open for clothing. Okay, here's clothing. So it tells you the different tiers, whatever, who gives a crap. Look at this clothing. I think DLC is put in here, by the way. You'll probably notice it. But look at this. It's all these boring ass hats and stuff. Ooh, cowboy hats. Ooh. Look at this freaking stuff. Freaking boring. It's just the only thing. See, this is what I'm talking about. This was the only samurai stuff for the longest time. Just freaking different colored samurai phallic helmets. The tip of a dick. That's all they had. And I think this stuff is DLC stuff. Yeah, because I don't remember seeing any of this in the game. If there is any of it in the main game, then I don't remember it. But yeah, look at this. And then it's back to the freaking game stuff. Like, it's so freaking generic for something that's supposed to be cyberpunk. Even Deus Ex is freaking laughing at you. It's got the same problem as The Division, where it's just boring generic clothing, except in that game, that's not trying to be a big cyberpunk in the future universe. This is, and it's still freaking boring. Oh, sunglasses. Get these freaking ads on my face. Sunglasses. Oh, the lower part of your face is covered. Only that, though. And then we get into what I'm guessing is DLC stuff. And then back to freaking sunglasses. Like, what the frick is this? This is your gear for the game? Oh, a bunch of different jackets. God, this freaking stuff is boring. This is your freaking gear? It's either the generic clothing, leather jackets, or the glowing collar jackets, or stuff that makes you look like a stripper. You look like a freaking stripper. Some of the freaking clothes. Let's see if there's are there sets? Oh my gosh, yeah, these look amazing. Yeah, yeah, these are fantastic. But that's from the freaking DLC. Wow, now that I'm seeing this, I'm even disappointed the DLC doesn't even have that great of stuff. I'm kind of blown away by that. That's so freaking weird. Inner torso? Yeah, dress shirts, tie, stuff with ties, freaking regular shirts, belly shirts, tank tops with pictures. How is this cyberpunk? I I know you can mix and match stuff, but God, it's so boring. Bethesda games do better. Oh my gosh, that's the worst. Wow, that's it? The freaking clothing is so bad in freaking Cyberpunk. You have to like unlock, like, say for example, either the gear from the goddamn anime by like getting a code or whatever the frick you did to get like that jacket and the gun and such, or you do this a similar thing with The Witcher and you get like Witcher stuff, but like even that's just not enough. It's freaking boring. All right, did I click on the weapons thing? I can't remember if I did. Oh wait, that's manufacturer. I want to go to the wiki. Wiki. Oh, there we go. All right, let's look at weapons if it'll fucking show me. All right, let's look at weapons. So power weapons, tech weapons. Okay, so I'm guessing if I click on one of these, get your freaking ad out of my face. Goddamn freaking ads. All right, I'm guessing if I click on like power weapons, for example, let's see what we got. I'm guessing too that this is mixed in with DLC stuff. So do expect some of this stuff to be a DLC. Hey, that's it? I guess that's one section, but man, I guess maybe they feel better, but like one of my problems with the freaking game is like I'll get to it in a sec, but I just don't find the enemy variety, like the enemy variety is lacking and the enemies are just not very interesting. Especially when you don't have like freaking guilds or freaking you don't take advantage of like Militech and all that crap or those spider eye guys. Like why the frick aren't you taking full advantage of like those guys? Even freaking Starfield, you can join a gang and all that crap. There's some unique weapons. I think in the weapon department it's a little bit better, but it's still kind of just like weapons you've already seen before, but colorful or something, or made to look weird for the sake of looking weird. Tech weapons. I also feel like there's just more variety of like what kind of character you want to play thanks to the outfits and weapons in like Bethesda games. Like say for example, I want to be a raider. The game provides like weapons, melee and the pipe guns and stuff for that. Or I want to, and as well as the gear, like the cage armor and such. Or I want to be a cowboy, or I want to be the Silver Shroud or Grognak the Barbarian. It gives you the weapons and stuff. I just feel like there's more variety, and that's not even counting like the perks and whatever. Maybe the with the new fix of the skill tree or whatever the frick in Cyberpunk, it's probably better now. I wouldn't doubt that, but still, like I feel like this is not pushing enough. Like they even kind of have like similar guns but different colors, or they have different like freaking you know, whatever the frick you want to call these. Wow, this section was short. What the frick? Oh, okay, it's just yeah, it's just showing. Let me just make sure. Yeah, because that I remember that green gun. Okay, back. I kind of feel like I saw the same. So we saw some guns with those. Hold on. Trying to see something. Huh. Okay. There's definitely more variety in the weapons. I just don't know, like, if it's truly enough or they truly feel different enough. Baseball bats, knives. That's it? What the frick is this? This is boring. Even your samurai swords are just generic samurai swords with different colors. Oh, that's the frickin' one from goddamn Witcher. I couldn't tell them apart from these other frickin' samurai swords, honestly. Oh, look, that one's pink. Ooh, that's a different. So I was gonna be like, oh, because of the tier and its special effects, whatever. You can't say any differently to any other game that's an RPG with frickin' stats and whatever effects they have. This is frickin' boring. All right. I think we're getting into Fallout stuff, but I want to look up. So we're gonna skip the enemies for now. Now here's armor and clothing. So you already know there's a bunch of power armor in the Fallout games. So I don't think we necessarily need to get to that type of stuff. Is it gonna show us pictures? Oh, what happened? No. Go away, Best Buy. Piss off. God, freaking advertisements. Okay, so I think it is showing armor here. I know it's tiny. Oh, yeah, we don't need to zoom in unless you want me to. But you see, there's just more, there's already more like armor variety. And like, because I like there's a personality and stuff they establish with both the look of the world and the armor and such. And you'll see with like characters. Like they have very distinct looks and such. Okay, that's DLC. So don't count anything that's DLC unless you want it to. Then again, honestly, seeing the armor sets I saw in the frickin' if that is all the DLC armor sets as well, Cyberpunk's in trouble. Because like recon armor set alone would destroy that crap. Like this gear is just like, and also it looks like you can customize to different levels of gear that you wear or different types. Like this has a little less in the chest, but there's still more armor around the other parts, but this one's even less so. Yeah, you can wear it different ways or like have different variants. So it does feel like it adds a little bit more to the freaking game. Oh, okay, those pictures are tiny. We're supposed to make those out. Okay, military uniform. Yeah, I think you get what I'm trying to say though, is that there's a freaking load of goddamn gear in this game that and this game at least makes a little bit more sense having like the freaking suit jackets and stuff. But that's not everything it has. It still has all this other cool gear and such. God, why does it have to be so tiny? Also, that's a lot of freaking gear. Oh, yeah, we get to actually see like helmets and stuff. Sweet. Oh, don't count Creation Club stuff though. Like, look at the variety. I know this is getting DLC, but if we count the other DLC, like, it's still in trouble because this stuff isn't DLC. And it's like different variants of the same mask. Actually has like differences to each mask and like a layer or whatever. May not have like a special effect due to that. That doesn't mean they don't have effects sometimes. There's definitely gear with that. But yeah, it just feels like there's more variety going on here than there was in frickin' oh yeah, wigs. And there's your glasses right here. Like most of the gear for your frickin' face was sunglasses and frickin' that goddamn game. And there's even hats here. Guessing that's for dog meat. That's another thing. You can dress some of your companions with more stuff, even strong and such, or the same gear you're able to wear. Okay, now it's just these showing individual pieces. Yeah. God, it's a lot of stuff. Like, I think we're getting to the bottom. Yeah, we got to the bottom. Yeah, it just has more freaking crap going on in it. We'll get to enemies later. Now let's see what this next one is. Weapons. Here we go. Get the frick out of my face. All right. Now you have revolvers, which you saw a lot of those too in frickin' Cyberpunk. And you got all these different pistols. You got like shotguns, some DLC items. There's also stuff based on older guns, real world guns. And then you got stuff like this, a railway rifle. Or shotguns, here's the pipe pistols. I know they're trash, but it's a unique idea, and you can role play with it. And you got this, the big boy or the fat man. Like, nobody's gonna forget this stuff. Of course, there's special versions as well. You can find throughout the world. This, the incinerator, I think that's junk jet. Your frickin' minigun. It's just, even these rifles, which take up your screen and are ugly, a lot of people hate, they're even unique designed rifles, and there's plenty of them, as well as the attachments you can make for them or whatever they come with. Gatling lasers, there's just a lot more unique weapons too within this series because it's built for that. Once again, don't count like freaking stuff like that. Alien laser or alien blasters, Tesla rifle. I think this is also Creation Club stuff as well as this, but I think these are genuinely in other Fallout games, so they do kind of count. Then silly little guns like that, where they show a little bit more humor to stuff. Bunch of grenades and other explosives. Here's the melee. Now look at these melee weapon selection. Frickin' Grognak's axe. He got a frickin' the equivalent of a Cthulhu weapon. Got the Ripper. Got that fire shish kebab sword. You also have like samurai armor, like weapons, I think. Hold on, are there? Thought there was. Is this it? Nope. You got Chinese swords and an assault Tron blade. Oh, okay, it's not all of the weapons. Baton. Oh yeah, and these frickin' hammers, frickin' crazy. I love them. You can hit people with a walking cane. The frickin' claw. You're getting to like fist weapons. The power, your equivalent of power glove, and I'm not talking about the Nintendo one. And this is not including mods either. I just saw the mod section, but yeah, this is not including mods. Such a stronger variety. And also, Skyrim has this stuff. So Skyrim is also very strong in that department. All right, what was this? Dialogue wheel. Didn't I have a separate page? Yes, here we go. So I want to talk briefly. I want to actually bring out more like a better way of putting than my previous video. I actually hate my previous video, though I did make better points towards the end of that video, but about other things between the games. But this dialogue wheel right here is trash. It is ass. It only tells you one word. It's on 4 different sides of your screen, And if it's like different colors, there are certain situations, like take for example dance, and depending on like, uh, I think orange and red, you definitely aren't going to succeed in being able to succeed in answering, but like yellow, orange, and red, I think I said, yellow and green, like you can be successful in answering with. So the colors do have a purpose, as well as like with the dance situation, like you can potentially get him killed by his former master, or you kill him, or you can actually save him through that kind of system. It isn't the best system, but also it's kind of like Mass Effect. Mass Effect will probably have a little bit more dialogue here, and that's not to say that there isn't sometimes where there is a little bit more, even in Fallout 4. But it'll have like, for example, you'll have like hi or hello here, and then your character has like longer dialogue of what, uh, but still meaning hello or whatever is going to be here, even if it's a couple more words longer. Where in Cyberpunk, I think they straight up say the exact line you're reading. Where is it? Dialogue, images. Okay, do I already have it up? Yeah, I already have it up, so piss off. So people make fun of it for like color coding, or like Starfield for having the obvious words of like flirt next to it or whatever next to a word. Like this is something, those are things that other games do too, you know. Other games that you do really like. Hell, Cyberpunk also does it. And it also does the color coded dialogue, but it serves different purpose. So the blue dialogues are questions mostly. The yellow are the basic, essentially this, what they're saying is this is the dialogue you select in order to progress the dialogue with this character, where the others just kind of hold it in place and you can ask each one of them. And there aren't many yellow and blue dialogues, and they basically, at least a good portion of the time, say what you're. They barely use this timer thing, as well as it's not nearly as good as it was in The Witcher and how it was utilized. But I know it's really small and hard to see. They either have symbols next to it, which Beth- Bethesda games have done before, or fricking they will have like Street Kid written next to it, or Corpo, though I rarely see that stuff. Matter of fact, I think I see that here maybe? No. But yeah, like it's color coded dialogue. There are options, like you can stealth an entire mission, though it does kind of defeat the purpose of your character wanting to be a legend. That's kind of a selfish and not relatable freaking character development. I just don't think they put much effort, and I'd rather not hear this, read the dialogue that this character is going to act and say, anyways. It's just I'm like seeing the same, hearing the same thing, and seeing the same thing double. And I know that's not like it with all of these, but still, that does happen in this game. Seriously, where are those spider eye guys? But it's just so ironic, the stuff that people talk about with these with freaking Cyberpunk and make fun of Bethesda games. Yet this is the kind of crap we have, and it's barely really developed or done well. All right, let's see what we have. Oh yeah, I was getting into Skyrim armor. I think I already have a page open. Yeah. So why is this here? Yeah, I don't even need to show you like armor sets. You already know that frickin' Skyrim has a plethora of really cool armor. Don't count anything that's modded or Creation Club related, by the way. But there's still plenty here, minus that. As well as you have all the different races and stuff, so you're already at a good start. But just counting the armor, you have a lot. And Skyrim has a lot of companions that you can romance. And even though they're not nearly as developed as characters in some other games, it's still quite a plethora of characters, as well as the fact you can build your own houses or freaking live in your own home, decorate your own home, all that kind of crap, where I think Cyberpunk doesn't even nearly touch that, as well as adopt children, get married, all that kind of crap. Uh, yeah, you can't bang, but when you only love a character for them being hot, that's not enough for me. There's got to be other qualities. They got to be memorable characters. And when Judy's the only one I hear anybody talk about, it's just not enough. And yeah, even weapons from staves, swords, axes, the special Daedric items, uh, the freaking also rings and stuff. I guess you can count in gear, but whatever. And they also technically have samurai swords because those are the blade swords. And that gear is kind of samurai-ish. Even that stuff is trying hard to be more samurai. Yeah, you can tell, like minus any modded things here or anything extra, that they've tried more. That's an actual blade in the game. They tried more with like the designs and stuff. All right, moving on. So what is this? Oh yeah, I was gonna compare Night City, but I decided I don't care. Night City has that problem. I can't remember what YouTuber said it, but they said that, well, besides the fact that there's a lack of random encounters and stuff, Night City just doesn't have many interactable NPCs, and they're mostly just cannon fodder NPCs. They're just there to make up realistic crowds and stuff, even though they're freaking brain dead still. So, realistic crowds, my ass. It just feels lifeless. Where in freaking a game like Skyrim, I can walk up to any of the NPCs and start conversations or get to know them, even if they have short dialogue, or even start a quest. That's the other thing I want to get to with quests. I noticed that Cyberpunk does that thing where it'll show all of the markers for the side quests and stuff, or where they're going to be, as well as even an arrow or a line leading to them when you click on them or whatever, or select them. And it's just also cars in that game are freaking boring. Like the cars have the same problem as the freaking clothing and stuff, where it just looks like cars you'd see in modern day time. It's like, be more creative. But you got these cool cities and stuff, as well as they put more creativity in the stuff. You're not gonna say like something like Markarth isn't freaking awesome, or Riften, or Whiterun, even Solitude and Windhelm. Got that freaking city over a goddamn hanging cliff. Freaking awesome. Now there are towns in the game, like the village areas, Riverwood, all that crap, even Falkreath and such. Those are frickin' the samey, boring stuff, but they have good cities minus that, and a lot of interactable characters, merchants, and more. Where a lot of Cyberpunk just doesn't really have that, so it just doesn't nearly feel quite as alive. It's the illusion of trying to feel alive. Night City is a cool looking city on the out. Why is there another page of this? It is a cool looking city from the outside, but the actual feeling and the inside of it, just nothing. Why the frick are people yelling outside my window? Did I have? Oh, yes, I do. So, you already know the companions of the Fallout games. Like, you look at this group of people, of individuals here, and you can tell them apart. Like, alone, Hancock, Preston Garvey, Piper, and Nick Valentine are such iconically designed characters, and that's also going to bleed into the enemies too. They're just such well-designed characters that fit the setting, have so much personality and color. They're just so much better in their designs, and they're decent characters, and you can also romance them. Already a ton of romance options. Yes, you don't get cutscene of banging, though this did come out before that kind of stuff, but it's still really cool. You're not gonna frickin' forget these characters or what they're like, their personalities and stuff. They have personality just in their looks alone. So never mind the fact that they have personality and what the actors lend to them. I mean, you got Goku as a super mutant over here. Yeah, like you're not going to forget those characters. Oh, I had to type in romance partners because the characters don't really come with you on your adventures. So I remember I romanced this character and I think Panam, uh, but I had to look up Judy's romance, like what she was like. I think this character might be romanceable too. I also want to get more to V versus Soul Survivor because I just mentioned the dialogue part of that. So these characters, I don't remember crap about any of them. Is that even a romance partner, that guy? But you got less options. Some of them are restrictive, like she's just lesbian, I believe. She's only into chicks. And yeah, they're just boringly designed. Look, even she has the swooped over on one side hair. It's even the same side. It's just longer and probably a different color. Matter of fact, it doesn't even look like a different color. It looks blue as well. You know what the hell's going on here? Only difference is you don't have to have frickin' pink on the end there. They just did not try hard with these. And a lot of these characters you're meeting because you frickin' because Johnny Silverhand wants you to in some of these cases. There's only a couple of characters that you genuinely already know and want to meet. And that's the other. So let's talk about a couple other things why I think V is not better than the Soul Survivor. So first off, V is just an unlikable character that's shown through the dialogue options, just an unlikable dick. Even freaking Manly Reviews points this out. I think even freaking Beat 'em Ups in his video, Act Man in his. I've seen several people freaking talk about that. It's just an unlikable protagonist with an unlikable goal. And while the protagonist Soul Survivor is just a reversed version of Fallout 3's main protagonist, where it's the father looking for the son this time, and there are definitely plot holes and problems with the plot of Fallout, of course, but it's got all this other foundation of like guilds and stuff. Get out of my way, freaking thing popping up in front of my face. I don't know if you even saw that. But you got freaking just annoying ass character. I know you can make the dialogue reflect to be better, but nicer or whatever. Just unlikable. And the actors are giving it all. It kind of feels like the Last of Us thing, where it's The Last of Us Part 2, where it's like those actors are giving it their all, but they're freaking unlikable. They're freaking unlikable. Honestly, Keanu Reeves doesn't feel like he kind of does feel like he came straight out of his Dracula movie, except he's not doing the accent, or he came out of freaking Matrix with his acting. It's got like the Peter Dinklage as the ghost from Destiny problem. Um, and that's the other thing. Because you are the main character and that you actually feel like you have freedom and can do whatever you want, exploring around and stuff in Fallout, it doesn't feel like you're quite as free. You can go wherever you want, but when it comes to actual stuff that you can do, other than the fact that a lot of it I notice will be on your map most of the time, like it'll show you where all the restaurants and stuff are. Like you don't even have to go to those. I also hate how fast travel works in Cyberpunk. It's freaking dumb. Um, they should have freaking fixed that since The Witcher 3. Like it was fine there, but now it's not Cyberpunk. Yeah, what is your excuse? but I just don't. Because the game is so hijacked by Johnny Silverhand, it feels more like you're doing most of the chores for Johnny Silverhand, and it's mostly for him. Why couldn't he just be the main character? And like the villains mostly don't even like show that they're frickin' being evil. You have to mostly hear exposition from like Johnny or somebody else that they're evil. But then that contradicts or conflicts with the actual visions you see of Johnny Silverhand terrorizing and being a dickhead to everybody. You kind of feel like he's the one you're made to hate instead of Arasaka. It's like they freaking screw that up. So Fallout's got plot problems. So does goddamn Cyberpunk. They're even. I wouldn't doubt there are places where they're better. I also find myself more interested in the universe of Fallout, and that's not even needing to include the other Fallout games. In Fallout 4 specifically, I'm still more interested in like what the lore is around like specific buildings or dungeons I go to and stuff. And because I don't think like Cyberpunk has much of that other than within the main missions that are meant to be part of like a side quest or a main quest and not something you just explore or stumble upon, it's just not nearly as interesting a world to explore. Um, Also, I always find it weird how people don't say that frickin' games should do the thing where they like the old Gothic games where you walk into somebody's house and they tell you to get the frick out, you're trespassing. Skyrim and Fallout still do that stuff. It just does it a little differently. Like if they do have hours where they are allowed to have people in or they're home while you're there during like daylight hours, then yeah, they'll be chill with you. But if it's like nighttime hours and stuff, it's like no. Hell, do they even put you in jail when police catch you in frickin' Cyberpunk? Because they have jails in the other games, and they do put that. I don't know about Fallout 4 actually, but they do have jails in Skyrim at least. And I think even in Starfield, I can't remember if Starfield has much for an actual prison they will lock you up in. But yeah, they actually have like laws and stuff, as well as like if they catch you stealing with your having cargo that's stolen on your ship, we'll catch that. All right, let's look up cyberpunk enemies, like let's see how the enemy variety is. All right, is there a video playing right there? Get that out of my face. All right, besides mini bosses, you also have to realize that a lot of the time, like certain dialogue of characters or enemies is because you crossed a line specifically designed into the game to activate said dialogue or whatever. Like they're showing these guys, but those guys are barely in the game. Let's see if I can like look something else up. Oh, maybe, hold on. I'm not doing this right. Uh, Fandom.com. Guess this will work. All right, what do we got here? So behavior, reckless, aggressive, balanced, range tier 1. Oh wait, melee tier. What are these? Gunner tier. I can't click on these to see them though. Okay, what are these? Okay. That is not helping. Can you show me pictures of the enemy variety? That just sounds like guns. Okay. Uh, androids. So it's telling you what enemy type and then like the tier and the weapons that they'll use, different weapon types they'll use. I just don't feel like the game has very smart AI as well as like also the police system can't be very good. Like you know those guys that are coming down in the fricking can you get the ads please out of my face? Uh that come down and oh my gosh. Okay, fine. We'll have to get out of that. But you know the guys that come down in the big like flying freaking machine, whatever frick, and it's like they have to zip line out of that thing. Like if you're in a car while that thing is coming by, they take like forever to get everything set up. Like are the guys in there fast enough to catch up with a car? You probably be halfway across Night City by the time they actually get down there to attack you. And then you probably only have the rest of the regular cops. Is the freaking police system even that good? And it's also not something new and should have been in the game in the first place. The freaking CD Projekt Red's priorities were just not in the right places. It's freaking ridiculous. All right, and then we come to Fallout. Uh, oh, I should have had Skyrim up as well. Okay, get your freaking advertisements out of my freaking face, god damn it. Oh, you're not going to show me the enemy types? You're just going to show me the words? Oh, okay. These say what they're from, Nuka World and Far Harbor. Okay, thank you for that. It still looks like there's more enemy variety in this game too. Yeah, there's more enemy variety in Fallout. I'm glad that Actman, I can't remember what video it was, but it was a recent video. Actman made fun of those people who make comparison videos, and I'm just thinking of the dumbass one where it's like, look how good Cyberpunk's physics are. And that's it. You know, physics is not something the player is probably gonna notice all that much. Look at the cool tricks this player does in Cyberpunk. They just jumped off a car, and that yeah, I've seen that in other games. You know, people can do crazy tricks in anything if they frickin' set their heart and mind to it. That's not new. Anything else? Well, you don't have anything else, do you? No. It's just nonsense. Nonsense this, nonsense that. Thank you for nonsense. Now frick off. All right, let's get Skyrim up. I know they reuse assets. That is a thing that freaking they like to do. Bethesda. If anything, weirdly enough, I would compare freaking Cyberpunk more 2077 more so to Fallout 76 because they have the same like outcomes and everything. Like they both started out as glitchy ass games that were freaking hated more than they were loved for because like Cyberpunk was hated for like 3, 4 years by people with people and fans, small fan base here and there annoyingly being like, the game's better now after this update. The game's better now after this update. It's like, shut the frick up. Patience, please. Do you have some mother? I feel like Samuel L. Jackson. Patience, please. You have some mother. Yeah, goddamn. I already know they have freaking plenty of like Skyrim does the same thing where there's a variety in the different types of enemies. You know how you have a regular Draugr, and then you have like a Draugr Death Lord, then you have that hulking Draugr. You know, there's that kind of stuff. So you already know there's more enemy variety, both in humanoid enemies and non-humanoid enemies. They just go more creative with this stuff. I feel like this is what freaking like they don't even need like animal wildlife because it's like they didn't even do a good job of really explaining that the wildlife in that universe is freaking dead or practically dying. Uh, but yeah, like I just find myself more invested in these universes. And I think even if Skyrim was like on its own without any other Elder Scrolls, or Fallout was 4 was on its own without any other Fallouts, I would freaking love those worlds. If you loved the original Fallout and the original Elder Scrolls stuff, then you're gonna fall in love with them if they were the start of those series, because they have such unique worlds and stuff to come to interest. Like, I just don't feel like Cyberpunk even exploits that enough. Cyberpunk just, for me personally, freaking fails on so many levels. Also, they just don't have you know how like Halo has like the 5 seconds of fun rule? I feel like not only do the Bethesda games follow that better, but also the enemy variety and the fact that they all have their own rules to play or different attacks and stuff they do. You know how like grunts will be the little guys and they'll be in groups. Then there's the bigger guys, like maybe a brood or elite, and they'll have different behaviors. Or if they get killed, then the freaking grunts scatter. Maybe there's suicide grunts. They just go in and want to blow you up. You got snipers, the jackals, or the jackals with shields, and there's a specific place you have to shoot them, or whatever, or specific weak points. Same with like hunters, the big tanky guys. Like there's different roles. I don't feel like they take advantage of that very well in frickin' Cyberpunk either. Like because of the lackluster enemy variety, and that even like the police officers and the robots that work for the police officers, they're you have to provoke them first, as well as a lot of the enemies you run into in the world. You mostly have to provoke first for them to in order to fight you. It's only in the missions and like side quests and stuff. I also freaking hate the map for freaking Cyberpunk. It's such a ugly freaking map. Even Dave goes off on how freaking ugly that map is. Let me look at something because I was talking about earlier how Cyberpunk has that like just like everything shows up on the map, and I know you can turn that stuff off, but like it's already on the map. There's even an arrow that will point or a line that will go there. It even does the Forza thing where it'll have the blue arrows on the ground leading you to where you should drive or whatever. It'll do stuff like that. Or Batman Arkham, once again, not something I haven't seen before. um I don't care what kind of robot eyes you have, they aren't special. uh, let's see the map and like let's do quest markers because I remember the quest markers being all over the freaking map and like you couldn't like unsee them. I think it'll show like older maps here. But yeah, like they mostly show you where all the frickin' whatever the name some of the frickin' stuff is, whether it's stores or the side objectives, they'll show you them right on the map. It's somehow more handholdy because in Skyrim, like if I walk, for example, I walk up to an NPC and they have a potential quest, like Brynjolf, he wants to walk up to me, he wants to start a quest. I can just straight up reject him. That whatever quest marker is attached to him or something will either turn up if there's a rumor telling me about something, like, hey, did you hear about the Thieves Guild and who can get you? Like those freaking markers, most of the time, unless it's like main quest stuff, don't pop up until you interacted far enough for them to pop up. In freaking Cyberpunk, it's not always like that. They're kind of already freaking there on your goddamn map. So it's somehow more handholdy, down to even when you click on it, having a line going straight to it. A big, obvious ass, colorful line going straight to it. And then just colorful freaking things. God, the freaking map is freaking hideous. Look at that. And it's just so much clutter. Like you won't get that in Skyrim unless you like literally go to every city and every town and stuff and literally accept every quest and hear every rumor and such and go up to every freaking merchant that allows you to select the option for hearing rumors. It's just like, what the frick? You won't get that until like you do all of that stuff. And it's not nearly a cluttered mess, and an ugly one at that, is like this. I think they did fix the map a little bit, but it's still a freaking mess to look at. Even the new version, I remember seeing the new version when Dave was playing the update and whatever else is going on now. I'm just not invested in this game because it's just like I said, not much creativity. I went into that stuff. I did not care. Let me go to and watching some React videos. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's doing that thing where it freaking highlights. Crap. It's freaking annoying. Um, I just don't find that Cyberpunk is the game for me, as well as I just don't think it gets those itches of like the freaking creativity and going all out. Like, honestly, Deus Ex gets that more. I feel like Deus Ex and System Shock and such have done better like cyberpunk related stuff than frickin' Cyberpunk. The game literally named the thing. Hell, I even feel like it disgraces the game board or doesn't understand, as Manly Reviews has said, fricking what Cyberpunk stands for. They're mostly like trying to focus emphasis on the punk part rather than the fricking cyber part. It's fricking annoying. And it feels like a disgrace. Anyways, I think that's most of what. Yeah, I'll just. Yeah, I won't say hi this time. You don't deserve a hi. But. Sorry. Okay, you deserve a hi. Hi. There. That's the most you're getting. But yeah, like, I would rather. Here's what I would do to make Cyber. Like, I can see a good sequel coming out of Cyberpunk. I don't think Cyberpunk on its own is that great a game, even as an RPG. It doesn't really do anything either to really break the mold. It's just there. At least the Bethesda games have done things. Maybe not so much Starfield, but the Bethesda games have done things to break the mold and to push things in a different direction. Like I'm glad we have ideas like marriage and frickin' romances. Like hell, I don't think that stuff would have been a big deal if it wasn't thanks to games like Fable and Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like those games kind of invented and pushed the wheel for those. For like games like Cyberpunk and frickin' Baldur's Gate to borrow those and then try and evolve them further. I just don't feel like Cyberpunk does much other than the genital thing. That's the only thing that was borrowed from it. And how many games are gonna probably even use that? There probably will be a lot, but that's mostly only gonna be amongst M for mature games. So, and for mature games that will actually use that. You're not gonna see Call of Duty or Halo using that. That would be weird. But yeah, that's just where something you only see RPGs, and honestly, sometimes not every RPG is going to have that or be an M for mature game. So even there, Cyberpunk's at a dead end with its stuff. I think that's everything that I got to talk about and wanted to talk about when making this video. I thought of this stuff. I was like, oh, hey, wait, I can just pull up tabs and show you the examples of what I mean when talking about this stuff. So this is probably the best video I could come up with arguing my points of view. And once again, if you do love Cyberpunk, I know I'm very negative towards Cyberpunk, that I've attacked it a lot. Hell, I become what I joke about, the anti-cyberpunk channel, I guess. But if you still love cyberpunk, don't let me or any of my opinion get in the way of that. I want to make that clear. I just Cyberpunk just doesn't scratch that itch for me personally, and I just feel like it's very lacking in stuff that I want to find that's really cool. You know how like Dark Souls has really cool loot I'm looking for, and it's like one motivation other than exploration. I just feel like Cyberpunk doesn't have that for me, or something that truly motivates me to have something like that for me in that game because of the previous things I just discussed and showed. I find the clothing boring. I find the armor boring. I find legendary or special type of loot boring or lackluster. I find the enemy variety boring or lackluster. I find the creativity somehow lackluster. I feel like they should have just made a JRPG, either a JRPG of the anime, or they could have had whoever designed the characters for the anime design the characters for the game. And if it's somehow the same designer, by the way, I'm freaking surprised because it doesn't even feel like it. Or maybe it's multiple designers or something. I don't know. But I feel like if they had them, they would be so much more creative. I just don't feel that much. And when there are creative characters that feel cyberpunk in the game, they're not there long. They're barely there. They don't take advantage of like the factions or the groups and gangs. You can't like join one. Like even Starfield does that. Like what the frick? You have a gang you can join. You can join you can start a job, have a job, working for freaking these that stupid corporation of like like assassin slash. They're like the Dark Brotherhood kind of mixed with the Thieves Guild. I don't know. But and then there's like the other one where it's like the that police force or the pirates. You choose one or the other, and the other one will hate you, and you have to practically kill them all. There's those space cowboy like sheriffs and stuff you can join. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I'm glad they added cars to the game. Uh, that's finally cool. I think even the creativity, like the Varun armor and some of the other spacesuits, even feel cooler than most of the stuff I saw in that freaking Wikipedia of gear. If there are other cooler sets of armor, they're just not showing from like the DLC and such, uh, please tell me, but I did not see a whole lot to convince me. And when games like Fortnite are doing like samurai gear better than your game that literally used the word samurai in so much of its advertising and such, can't get that right. It's freaking embarrassing. I don't know. I Cyberpunk's not for me. It's actually gotten worse with age for me personally, and I just find a hard time trying to get into it. One of these days I'll replay it again. I might use my PC for that this time, but if I'm still having problems getting into it because of the previously mentioned factors, then I don't think I'll ever get into it. I won't have that moment that I had with other games like freaking Metal Gear Solid, where I originally did not like Metal Gear Solid at all, hated that series. But then as I grew older, I started to appreciate it more and like so much about it more. If Cyberpunk doesn't do that for me in my next like playthrough, but on my PC this time, with that update and whatever else comes later, then yeah. Also, trams isn't enough to make your game amazing. Like I don't know why people got all hyped over that too. Like people feel like they get hyped over anything, and I feel like the really like you can still say the same thing like Bethesda fanboy or like frickin' all that crap, whiny excuses. I feel like the same deal you can make with Cyberpunk. I feel like a lot of the reason the fans hold on so hard to Cyberpunk is because not only is there not many Cyberpunk games, or at least Cyberpunk games trying to be like the tabletop, but also probably fans of the tabletop that want this. But this is clearly not it. And yeah, I find it one of the least creative games. Uh, is just a freaking bummer too, because I originally wanted to really like Cyberpunk, and I even thought I was liking it, but over time, just like with Outer Worlds, I started to see through more of the flaws. And while I had that same revelation with Bethesda games, somehow I kept coming back to them, and they kept having really cool things to them, minus mods that I would find or discover or actually got me invested in their worlds and stuff. There were more than just the freaking look of things. It was the feelings too. And while I wouldn't doubt somebody has that same vibe with Cyberpunk, I just don't feel like it's nearly as there or strong. So I hope this is. I'm sure I'm going to make a video in the future. Like I was saying, I wanted to do that three things Mass Effect does better than Baldur's Gate 3. I thought that would be interesting in the video, and you can probably see what I mean, what those three things are. Hopefully, those will be interesting to you. And yeah, I was planning on doing that same thing with Cyberpunk, but I kind of did a lot of what I wanted to say in this very live stream that I was going to talk about in those freaking videos. So I don't know if that's still on the freaking table. So yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. You have an awesome day. If you did enjoy this or find something interesting from it, whatever it may be, uh, yeah, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Try to be civil in the in the frickin' chat. By the way, if you're like trying to use it as a platform to bully or to swear at the person or tell them they're stupid in any number of ways, whether subtle or not so subtle, like, don't do that crap. That's freaking ridiculous. And you're like, an opinion like that should never be taken seriously if it's being used as a platform just to harass a person. And I'm betting somebody probably hasn't watched the freaking stream all the way through to get to this part. So whatever comments are in there, that's your fault if you didn't freaking went to the end. Hell, you could skip to the end and you'd hear this. Anyways, I will see you next time, and hopefully I will be actually playing a video game, which I have plenty downloaded now, ready to play. So, but there has been a lot going on, and I just wanted to do this quick. So